We'll call the meeting back to order. We have a little bit of a change in the schedule. The item that I was going to do this morning, I'm going to do now. And with that, I would like to call up Rick Enyes. So this is a total surprise. Rick doesn't know anything. But I wanted to present the Michael T. Pablo Chairman's Award to Rick Enyes for his unwavering commitment and extraordinary efforts in serving the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. Okay, it had to be a surprise because if we would have planned for this, you would have probably not showed up. I know how humble you are. I just want to say that I just met Rick when he started employment with the tribes, and I didn't know him growing up, or I didn't know of him before he came to the tribe. And I've always been really impressed by his professionalism, his rapport with his staff, his ability to get things done, and his big ideas. We've sat until 7 o'clock in the evening sometimes just talking about our big ideas and just the long-term vision for the tribes. And he's done everything in his power to empower his people and, you know, all the employees of the tribe to, you know, get things implemented, these really good ideas. So I just wanted to present that award to him, and the blanket, and I think we're going to have an honor song via Zoom because this was a last minute thing and we just threw this together this morning via chat. So if we could all stand, and I believe Kootenai Culture Committee Director Vernon is going to provide us with the honor song.
Oh, so Kootenai. I wanted to start by saying thank you to Rick and congratulations to him. And I think, Shelley, that you've made an excellent choice in presenting this award. So, with that, I only know one honor song.
Thank you, Vernon. Appreciate it. Especially the last minute request. So Rick, did you want to say anything?
No, I'm not mad, just embarrassed. Humbled and very appreciative. I'm glad you didn't let me know ahead of time because I wouldn't have been here. I am, humbled and so grateful to work with amazing people. My wife and I came back to the res because of our faith and because we wanted to help serve our community. And I think we have a long way to go. And I would actually point all of the good that we've done to the council's leadership, the dedication of the staff, and the resilience of our people. I look forward to serving well into the future, and thank you very much. I'm very much appreciative.
I didn't mention all the specifics that went in behind this award, but you know, when I first started as the chair, we had 2 months in, the pandemic hit us. And so, you know, all these well-laid plans just got pushed aside for, you know, just the public health and safety of our people. And with Rick's help and all the other staff, we were able to make some, you know, well thought out, quick decisions. And he was just such an integral part of keeping the fires burning and keeping the place going. And he really did work 24/7 at times. And, you know, we couldn't have done it without Rick and his dedication. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for coming today and joining the party. Go ahead, Sharma.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say to you, Rick, and to your staff as they're filing out the door, I think that you're all a part of a very incredible team of people, and we appreciate each and every one of you, definitely. And what I love about this award being given to Rick today is I believe he exemplifies the nature and the importance of the Michael T. Pablo Chairman's Award, in that I have always heard Rick come with solutions and all sorts of ways that something can be done. He doesn't come to the table with all sorts of reasons why something cannot be done. And I really think that's important. And I just, I just thank you all for sharing that approach to how things get done here. That's really life-giving. So lems to all of you.
Carol? I just want to say it's really been an enjoyment to work with Rick at times because we have our differences, of course, but
I'm really impressed by what he brings to the table also, Charmel, and think we've got a lot of work ahead of us, and it doesn't stop here, and it doesn't usually move very quick anyway. It takes time, and we need to think through it, and we've got 8,000 members we need to bring along with us. And so I just appreciate the time you took with the staff. I've never seen that done ever before, and I'm really excited to see the report come out. But I think just that step in itself shows a lot of caring about the people that work here, and that their voice and what they have to say means something. And when that report comes out and we take heed to what's been said, and I think it'll take this organization a long, long way. And not only are you getting the chairman award, but I also feel your staff is too. There is some impressive staff out there. I mean, I sit in those housing meetings and I see what's brought to the table and with your leadership, and I'm just so impressed. And so I want to thank you. You can put the box down anytime, but anyway, I just wanted you to know that what you do and what you're going to do in the future is going to be great. So thank you.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. I feel uncomfortable because I feel like the work is done by the visionaries and the people who are doing the boots on the ground, and I'm just a conduit, but try to be the best one I can. Thank you so much. I'm really embarrassed. I'm gonna leave now if you're okay with that.
Thank you, Rick. James Steele Jr. had a quick request for Patty, and you were gone this morning. So if you could just step up really quick, and James, can you go ahead with your request?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I've been working with the Quick family, and they are requesting the utilization of a community center on January 1st and 2nd for a personal family jump dance. And they will be utilizing PPE items and such, and social distancing. They cannot use the longhouse. Tony's requested that the families do their own issues, do their own jump dances, at home or other locations. And so they're requesting to utilize the community center.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I will get with you about that today, Councilman, and then you also will need PPE supplied, is that correct?
Yeah, that would be good if they had that. They're looking for utilizing it January 1st and 2nd.
Thank you. I'll follow up with you today.
And just for clarification, Patty, you're going to be signing on to this meeting as well? Okay, you're getting specially requested.
Oh, goodness, okay.
So give her a minute to get up to her office. Okay, thank you, Patty. Thank you, James. So with that, we can start with our regularly scheduled agenda item. And again, thank you, Vernon, for that last minute request. So.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so. Vernon, did you have something? I don't.
Oh, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that you made a really good choice on that award, and, working with Rick and listening to his ideas and how he's able to, oftentimes when people aren't good at dialogue and discussion and coming to consensus, it turns into kind of, heated discussion and anger. And Rick can weather those storms and come out of it without hurt feelings and with the ability to get at the root of what it was about, and then to try to address it. And I think that's a characteristic that that really is important in our organization. So with that, I mean, I'm sure he was looking at those kinds of qualities when he was selecting his crew. So I'm really pleased to see Patty on board as well. So anyway, yeah, that's just what I wanted to say with it. If you want to get, shall we get started with the elders portion? Okay, yeah, there was a couple of requests, and but to start off with, I wanted to say that we're going to. There was a request about an update on the language program, and I've got to say that I am so incredibly pleased with the group of apprentices that we have. They are advancing in their knowledge of the language really well. And I have emphasized to them the important parts of being selected for the language apprenticeships, the qualities that I was looking for. I believe that all the membership has the ability to learn and acquire our languages, our native languages. But what I was looking for were those that could do it the quickest because of the 11th hour that we are in with the state of our language. We needed those that could do it the quickest to start off with, and the ability to work together as a cohort, and the ability to the interest and motivation to teach it and to spread it. And so, with those qualities, that is what we were searching for, and we found a core group that is right with it, and they are advancing. They are, I'm just so impressed. They passed me up in their language knowledge a while back, and they're continuing to grow in it. And the most knowledgeable person about in understanding the workings and the patterns of the language is our linguist Dorothy Burney, and she has guided them. She told me she's not a language teacher, but she has guided them along, and they have made so much progress under her guidance that I'm just really impressed with them. We have some advertised now that we're going to be bringing on 3 more here after the start of the year, and we're just so excited and pleased with it. And when we get this core group together, it's going to, we're going to see some really good advances with it. So with that, I wanted to open it up to the elders for some of their questions, and so and I think that. Patty, the reason why you were requested is probably some of it is directed at some of the departments that you supervise. So with that, any of the elders can bring their concerns forward.
Okay, who wants to go first? Any questions? Go ahead, Loretta.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Tribal Council, Madam Chair. Patty, one of the reasons why I was requesting your presence is because you are the supervisor of the DHRD, which houses the Elders Program, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so I have a couple of immediate questions, one of them being the budget. I know that the new fiscal year budget just came out. And I was wondering what that budget was, if that's public knowledge. If it's not, that's fine too. But, and in that budget, what portions of that is directly allocated to the elders, and what can the elders specifically request? What can they not ask for? And is there a specific limit that they're allocate, each of them are allocated? Like, is it $100? Is it $1,000? Or is it just based per request? And then in that request process, I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. In that request process, who sees that application, or is there an application process, first of all? And if there is, who sees that application and who approves or disapproves it? The reason I'm asking is because I know there's a lot of elders out there that need showers, that need ramps, that need handrails in their bathrooms and throughout their homes. And they just need, there's a lot, they need range hoods. I replaced a couple of range hoods for my elderly family within the last couple of years. And I've done some other things for my family members and never asked for the elders program because I was told you'd be put on a list, or we don't have the funding. I mean, there was just all kinds of excuses out there as to why they couldn't do this, that, or the other thing, unlike some programs who try to say, okay, so here's this that we can do, or this and this and this. It was just, I was running into walls everywhere. So I just quit going to them and just started doing it myself. But I just think that there needs to be a process, a clear process, and everybody needs to know what that process is. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Loretta, for those questions. I think they're really great questions. As for the overall budget, the DHRD budget and the elders budget, I think that's all public information. It's public dollars that comes into the tribe. I can get those for you if that's something you're interested in. I'm probably a little bit more concerned about the process, and I think that's part of what the things that I'm really looking at here is processes, because all of those things that you described actually cover 3 different departments. So those types of things can happen in housing, they can happen in DHRD with elderly services, and they also happen within tribal health. So that's one of the things that I'm really working on, is still trying to be clear what comes from what department and how can we work more collaboratively to wrap our arms around those elders and those needs. So I'm perfectly fine when those things come across my desk, because knowing about them are important, and then I can help really delve into that department that may be able to assist in that. We also know that with a lot of these dollars, whether they're state dollars or federal dollars, there's requirements that come with it, and we can only perhaps go so far with that particular budget, but I can wrap it with other budgets coming from other departments. And so that's really my goal, is we build this collaborative system. I also know it's going to take a while, and change is not always easy. It's sometimes difficult. But that's really my goal as we move into the future, is really look at that collaboration amongst departments and wrap our services around that elder, that client. Who oversees specifically the elders program? That would be Constant Marjo, and supported by Diane Matt. They receive those applications and they act on them within the confines of the elders program. So my goal again is to get more eyes on it, because some of those services can actually be provided by the different departments. I know that makes it much more difficult from the client perspective. And I'm really trying to push our team members to think about those partners in the other departments, who they can reach out to, who they can talk to try to solve those issues that elder may be coming forward with. The other thing that I'm finding is there are some things that need to be done perhaps that nobody has in their budgets. So I'm trying to track that also so we can think about how those needs might be serviced in the near future. I know, Loretta, that probably doesn't answer your question right now for the here and now, but that's kind of how we're moving. And if, again, if there are things that need assistance with that aren't moving for you, please feel free to let me know.
I have a comment.
Len?
Thank you for that, Patricia. You know, one of the concerns that the council's received in the past is from some of the elders that are over income that have been denied services because of that. And that has always been troubling, knowing the fact that the council has always advocated that we would help elders. And in some cases, we couldn't provide them any of the services. So it would be good to know if we can do a demographics of the elders that we have out there and what it would take to supplement the budget to accommodate that. And we would be able to look at some options on trying to enhance that budget so we could provide services to all elders. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that, and if you can just keep that on your radar, and I'd appreciate it.
Councilman, if I can respond to that, I appreciate you bringing that up. Rick has shared with me that council has asked for an elder inventory to be completed. So that is one of the things that I'm beginning to work on now and really look at what are the questions that need to be asked? What's the methodology? Because I think the methodology for the implementation of any sort of inventory is very important about how we do that. And then also who does it. And then the training itself will be really important as we begin to implement that elder inventory. I hope to have something ready to present by mid to late January so we can look at it, reflect upon it, and get it in the best format possible as we begin to implement that. I do think the needs are really important. We're hearing from several elders as they come in during walk-in and with those needs. And the more we know about what the needs might be, the better we can react to it and be proactive rather than reactive wherever possible. So thank you for reminding us of that.
Okay. Thank you, Patricia.
Junior?
Yeah, the Tribal Elders program, is there tribal dollars for that, or is it all grants and whatnot?
That's a great question, Junior. I believe most of it is grant funded and grant driven, and that means that there's requirements behind how it can actually be spent.
Yeah, I think the tribal council should start looking at tribal dollars for the elders. I know they give them a check every year or something like that, but I think they should get deeper into tribal dollars, you know, for the elders programs, where all these restrictions wouldn't be, you know, put on the elders. You know, I'm sure there would be some restrictions, but there's a lot of tribal dollars floating around, and it's kind of sad to say or hear that there's no tribal dollars going towards these programs, the elder programs. So I think the council or whoever should start putting tribal dollars, into the elders instead of letting them fill out an application to see if they're I can't find that word, to see if they're eligible. I'm sure there are a lot of restrictions, but with tribal dollars, I read and I see and I look and there's tribal dollars. There's gaming comes in, giving us millions of dollars and millions of dollars here and there. Where is it at? Why doesn't it go to our elders? Why can't we have a tribal elders program with tribal dollars? So that'd be good for somebody to look into. Thank you.
Thank you, Junior. Carol?
Yeah, Junior, I believe there is tribal dollars involved. There's also third-party revenue, which takes care of a lot of the healthcare issues. That's how that money can be allocated, is used for healthcare situations. And then also, like she said, the grant funds. I just don't know the immediate breakdown of that. I know there was $1 million of third party that went in, I believe. I could be mistaken. Now it could be 2 million because I think they just increased the budget. I just don't know the figure right offhand, but I know it's a sizable amount.
Any good stuff?
So who does the elders go to for these tribal dollars? Is it implemented in a program? Or where's it at? Because I don't know if they even know it's tribal dollars, because they're getting rejected and, so where do these tribal dollars come from and what program does it go to?
Junior, I think that's a great question. I think that's one of the things I'll start to explore is, what are those special set aside dollars that have come from the council that are unrestricted? And in which department are they administered? And if there has been any priorities placed upon them by that department. That's one of the things that I'll look into and then see how we might be able to administer them in a different way.
Patty, can
And
I
that
ask?
would, and that was part of the reason for the elders inventory is what are the needs out there? I remember a couple years ago, the elders program bought, I want to say like 10 refrigerators and 10 ranges and, because they got a discount price or whatever, but what was really the need out there, I understand from our district meeting last night that all of their appliances now that they had stockpiled are gone and they're having a hard time getting more in from suppliers. We have that whole supply chain issue going on right now. But I think this inventory will help us to see what the specific needs are, and then we can, make budget allocations based on that. So Lawrence, did you have something?
Yes, I did. About 3 years ago, they asked me how come I didn't request snowplow because of my age. And so I filled out an application and I received a letter back saying I was eligible for everything. But it's not really true. Because there is an income level on a lot of the services that's provided. But I never did get any snow plowing done either.
Anita?
Thank you, Madam Chair. One of the things I'd like to comment on when we first brought up about this inventory, it was going in because of the different issues that were coming to council and other staff. It was going into their houses and having someone either sit at their table or meet with them somewhere and figure out what they really needed, whether it be a roof, whether it's a ramp, whether it's medical equipment, and then doing a spreadsheet on it and looking at what services were out there where they could fill that need with the different programs that we have. And we really had a time with rural development. They have got grants. And they never did ever come down and give us service. They used to go to housing authority. And then all of a sudden it just quit. And then Connie and some of her staff and I jumped in and went all the way up to Kalispell and took training and doing applications one Friday. But what I had in what was talked about and envisioned was that individual or whoever the staff making that list and then trying to go through that list and decipher where can we pick it out of. You know, can it come from the elderly that can only go up to $1,500? Can it come from tribal health? You know, is there something with rural development? Is there something with the HIP grant through Salish Kootenai Housing Authority? And that's kind of where we envision that inventory to find out what is needed. So that's just my comment. Thank you.
And I know one of the barriers with that rural development grant that Anita got training on was they required home insurance, which many people don't have. So that was another brick wall we hit. But yeah, I have the utmost faith in Patty to get this inventory started and get it implemented. So do we have anything else on this subject? Martin?
Thank you, Patty and council and elders. I mean, I think that kind of a look at the elders program as a whole is, you know, what I've been asking for a while. And I try not to say that real loud because I have an elderly father and it looks like a conflict of interest because I'm just advocating for him, but that's not what I'm about. There are a lot of things. The wood, that's one example. Right now we have one guy that's supposed to be cutting up all these logs over in this bullpen and he's getting paid by the hour to do it. And I don't think that, you know, and I'm not knocking the guy, don't even know who it is, but I drove by there and I just started thinking about how long that's going to take to get to elders and will it be, you know, that for example, you know, the showers and the bathrooms, and I know we're, you know, we got a plan and we're beating a dead horse on this. But the one other thing is they can't even get contractors to apply there. You know, it sounds like we have 2 snow plowers and 2 wood cutters. And either there's something wrong with what we're paying or we're offering, or we got to start looking at customer service and, you know, how they're bidding these out and where they're, you know, because I can't imagine that there are only 2 snow plowers around here. You know, so and again, you know, I said this the last time, you know, how they treat people, including clients, including our elders, how they're treated, how our contractors are treated, how the care providers are treated. There's a definite disconnect in understanding that they are, whether they like it or not, in the customer service business. And I think the elders are probably our most prized customers. And they should be, you know, I said it earlier today that, you know, that we have a program set up named the Elders Program. They should be taken care of. There should never be an issue of why are they not? Or why is it a funding issue? You know, it should just be done. You know, I mean, the dollar signs are just something that anymore, we have the money to do it. And you know, we talked about the per capita payment earlier, and that's one of the things where it's like, I'd rather pay more into the elders program than increase the per capita payment. You know, so let's start making those tough decisions. You know, let's really start putting our money where our mouth's at. Like I always say, everyone up here on council has said at one time that elders were a priority. And if you didn't, I'm sorry, but that's most of the time everyone's platform. And it feels like, you know, we don't do a good job of it. So thank you.
Thanks. I don't want to sound like, I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse here. But I just want to, what Martin is saying is pretty accurate, and it's pretty spot on. I mean, it's, we talk and talk and talk about how important the elders are, but yet here we are going into 2022, and the elders, of which I am not one, by the way, I'm a representative of, but I feel like we have this conversation about 9 or 10 times a year, and we keep saying that this is going to be done and that's going to be done, and nothing is ever done. We make a little bit of headway, but not much. And we keep saying, you know, and I keep hearing over and over that the elders are our priority. They're the reason why we're here. I hear that over and over and over. But yet they're still out there begging for a handrail, a new shower, a new roof. Why? And we're sitting here with 9,000 excuses as to why we can't help them. And we're going to make a plan, we're going to make a plan, we're going to make a plan, but we haven't done that. I'm 61 years old. Am I going to be 90 by the time any of this comes to fruition? I mean, this has been going on for way too long. And I hope that by the time we're all elders, that we make some headway. It's time to start doing things, and instead of just talking about it. I worked for the federal government for 13 years, and we sat around and talked and talked and talked and never accomplished a goddamn thing. And that's the same thing that we're doing here. Excuse after excuse after excuse as to why we can't. Thank you.
Retta, you make a very good point, and I would have to agree with that in part, but there are reasons. And when we start taking money away from, and you already know this, seems like I'm just repeating myself, but when you start taking money away from other programs, that means services are cut from there also. So we try to balance what we do have. And I know there have been times when I've seen a lot of progress in the elders. And I know people are going to say, well, oh yeah, it's just certain elders. No, I've worked with the program quite a bit and seen progress made. But then when you mentioned the shower thing, that has been on my radar for a number of families for a long, long time. And I just heard at a basketball game the other night that this one individual got a walk-in shower. I know somebody in Elmo got a walk-in shower, but I'm still working on the veteran who didn't get it because they need to apply through the veterans program. And that's kind of what irritates me, is that individual has been left out. And so they need to go and apply through the elders program, but somebody should walk over there with a veterans application and say, here, Mister, let me sit down with you and help you fill it out, and we'll get this in right away. And hopefully we can get your shower. But the other problem is supplies. You can't get contractors. I mean, now it's just compounded, and it does look really, really bad. Even though there is money available, it's just all these different things happening at once. And so I see improvement. I see improvement by Patty being here and taking every issue that I send to her or Len sends to her, to task and try to get these things accomplished. But she'll tell you she's only one person. And she's only been on for 4 weeks, 5 weeks now. So, yeah, I mean, the programs we're doing it just takes a while to get it done. So if you have things, please get them to us. We will forward them on. I see them coming into Patty all the time, and Patricia and Constance. So we'll do what we can. We have made mistakes, but we're looking at them and we want to take care of them. We do.
If I could offer a suggestion here, you know, there are tribal dollars that are on in the elders program, and a possible suggestion would be that when requests come in, instead of the director saying, oh, that's covered under voc rehab, or that's covered under veterans, and apply to that program, if the tribe could just do it for the elders, and then the tribe seeks reimbursement from those programs, I think that would be a more efficient, and probably it would certainly serve the elders better. Anyway, just a suggestion.
Question,
Go ahead, Junior.
you know, it's kind of, you know, for the elders program, you know, I don't know, the administrative people, or I don't know who's all working for these programs. But, you know, it's not gonna work as good if you have somebody working for the elders program from Arlee coming to Elbow, finding, looking for what's the needs. Because these people aren't gonna open up. You know, you guys should start looking at people in the communities that know the elders, that know their needs. And the elders will talk to this person. Otherwise, you have Tom, Dick, and Jane coming to Elmo, and these guys don't know them, and they're gonna shut them off right now. So I think that's a avenue you can start looking at. Have somebody from the community that knows these people, that can visit with them and look for their what their needs. You know, it's kind of tough, you know, it's tough all the way around. I hear that, you know, we only have 2 plowers. Well, you know, there's reasons for that. You know, and these reasons have to be looked at. They have to start making these opportunities for our tribal members where, you know, these people will want to work. But, you know, it's too hard, especially with these grant monies, all these stipulations. That's where you're losing a lot of your workers. That's why I asked a question about tribal dollars. Thank you.
Go ahead, Martin.
Thank you, Nita, Junior, and Vernon, and everyone else. And I guess I should backtrack a little bit. I've already heard and seen better collaboration just since Patricia's gotten here. Because one of the things that I think that the elders program and tribal health need to do a better job of is working together. You know, because, well, use my dad, for example, he needs a ramp. He now has to go through, rather than use the nurse that's at the elders program, he has to go through tribal health to get a referral to get a ramp. And it's like, that seems kind of backwards, why the nurse there couldn't do a referral, you know, like those type of things. And so I've heard, you know, the collaboration already, seen it. And so I'm willing to give benefit of the doubt now. I'm sorry that I am passionate, but you know, my dad's been waiting on a shower for, I want to say 4 years, if not longer. And he's got little suction cup rails in there that fall down, and it's kind of scary. And you know, yeah, it's concerning. So thank you.
Go ahead, Patty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Junior, I think you bring up a really good point when you bring up who's going to administer that elders inventory, and that's what I call the methodology. So what's the method that we're going to use? I think it's really important that people who know that community are the ones going in, and I don't even want to call it asking questions, but just having the conversation. And then people that are qualified to look at roofs and look at things within the house. I can't do it, right? But people who are qualified and can help do that assessment for the property, I think is really important also. But it's really about the who. That's a really important part of how that inventory is administered. And then people are hired from that community to actually go and do that. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And just making sure that we keep that kind of top of mind as we begin to organize what that process actually looks like. Because we want the best data possible. If we don't have good data, then what we find out really isn't going to help us be more proactive than reactive when it comes to the elders. So thank you.
And what Martin said, you know, his dad's been waiting 4 years for a shower. I mean, you know, and I know a lot of people can't do this, but you know, that's what family is about. If something's going on in your family, family takes care of family. It still goes on, but not like it should be going on. There are some with no family that need help. You know, if I would have known that about Martin's dad, I would have bought him a shower. I would have. I wouldn't be waiting for no program to buy my dad a shower. These are the kind of things that need to be out there. You know, I would help. That's what I mean. Family take care of family, community take care of community. And if there's any way I could help like that, I would. And we have to remember that a lot of people buck your guys' system. They buck the system. They know all these programs inside and out. It's program managers versus the people that buck the system. And we have to know about that, so that the right people are getting the help. But I hear people talking, they know the system. They know what they can get. And that does take place. So Patty, you have your job cut out for you. Thank you.
Go ahead, Sharmil.
Thank you. I appreciate all of this conversation. It's so important. And I just wanted to say, I'm glad Greg's far that you're on as well. I don't know if there's a way, and maybe once you get the data from the inventory, you'll be able to kind of categorize each of these areas and prioritize. But what Junior was just talking about as far as family helping family, I don't know if it's possible to consider like providing the, what am I trying to say? Somebody who can get the specifications needed so that a family member can get that work done, like say for the shower install, making sure that the specifications are correct. And then if the tribe can provide some type of better purchasing, that tribal member families then can benefit from the purchasing advantage, if we could create one, so that family can help family as well. I think that could be another type of assistance possibly. Because I think we do have, definitely we need to figure out how to better serve the elders who don't have that support system. Whether they're widows, widowers, whatever the case may be. We need to certainly focus on how to help them in a certain way. But then there are the elders who do have support systems, but maybe we can make it easier as well on them somehow. Thank you.
Yeah, one thing, I'm getting a headache. You guys' camera is blurry. Your audience camera and it's all blurry there. I'm getting a headache trying to watch there. If somebody can adjust the lens or something. Thank you.
Comments?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead, Martin.
Not necessarily about this, but I think the elders program is the one that kind of manages all the senior centers. I know that I just got a request today about the use of Polson's Senior Indian Center for a meeting. It's part of the Never Alone Recovery Program. And I know that these have been shut down and everything, but part of one of the things that really reared its ugly head during the pandemic was, and still is a lot of our addiction and substance abuse issues. And I feel like if they are willing to do this, we've already opened up Dixon, the center down there, or the place down there to have meetings. I believe those are on Thursdays. I would hope that we could accommodate them using these centers, maybe do something where they take responsibility for the cleaning or something. These groups want to be able to use these buildings. They're respectful. They take good care of stuff. And I just would hope that, to maybe talk with them about allowing that, because, we have people that want to get well and healthy, and they don't have anywhere to meet. And that's something that, we need to help. So thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was trying to look around the screen.
That's okay. So I think that's a great point, Martin. So Patricia Corshane and I have been working on a plan to begin to open up all the senior centers between mid and end of January. So we're looking at all the issues that have come up over time, and really to make sure that we have a good plan that keeps them COVID safe for everybody using them into the future. So we are looking to open them.
Go ahead, Carol.
Along that same line, Tribal Health is also using something for their fitness centers. You might want to just check into that and maybe you're working with them on it already to collaborate on trying to keep those centers and everything clean, but it sounds like they got something in the works for their fitness centers.
Can somebody explain about the inventory that you guys are doing? And who's doing this inventory? And do they got people from the communities helping with this inventory? Can somebody explain that?
Go ahead. Patty.
Thank you. So the inventory is just like a survey. So we would go in and survey the needs for those elders. And that's where we want to make sure that we're hiring people from that specific community to implement that survey or that conversation, so we can find out more about what their specific needs are, including their needs for repair on their homes, etc. And then we're able then to prioritize and begin to work on those once we have the data that comes back. So that's really, we're calling it an inventory. I think those were the words the council used, maybe, was the elders inventory. Everybody has a different name for those questions, whether it's survey or inventory, but it's the same type of process. But it has to be more than just a electronic survey monkey that goes out or something of that sort. We really want to make it a little more personable, and we really want to be able to assess the living conditions of that elders. And then that way we can begin to prioritize how we begin to, the process to begin to work on those things. So that in a really broad nutshell, Junior, is what the inventory is. But it's specifically for elders.
Well, and I would think with people who's the elders program that's already done work, they're pretty familiar with the places that they've been to. And I think just individuals that have been in there that could identify like a floor is bad, or they, need a ramp, or the roof's bad. And then again, like you said, at different places where they can sit at the table and visit with these people. And if they know them, they'll trust them, like you're saying, the people from around that community. So yeah, I think there's ways of coming up with what needs done and trying to identify the source. And is there anything else?
If I could.
Go ahead, Vernon.
Yeah, when you're inventorying the elders' needs, I think it's important to find out what were the barriers, we're hearing a lot of things that it has taken a lot of time for a lot of the services to actually happen. And so I think that a critical part of your inventory needs to be what have been the barriers, and how is the process being corrected to respond to that. Thank you.
Are there any other issues? Okay, I see that Greg is on, and Lisa and Clayton. Are there any questions for any of these other three?
Ah,
Go ahead, Junior.
I guess it'd be to Greg. I can't remember how you guys set this up, but I guess this is what took place. I guess it's central accounting. Just recently there was a white person got a job there. And there's no advertising. I don't know how to put it out there. I can see little things already happening that shouldn't be happening. We hire our directors, and then you start seeing this. Now, this position at Central Accounting, I believe the tribal membership should have had a chance at this job before this white person. And that's not happening. I don't know what else to say. It's wrong. Our membership should come first. But this is what's going on in our workforce. And I believe it's wrong. There's other people that could have, if they would have known about this, if there's jobs come available, at least email the tribal workforce that this job's coming up. If you're interested, let us know. A job opens up, bang, it's filled. And not by a tribal member. You guys kind of know which way we're leading here, which way we're going. We're leaving our membership out. When an opportunity like this appears, the membership don't get a chance. And I hear about it. I don't know what you guys, if you guys hear about it or not. I believe this is your guys' job. This is your guys' job. This is who you're working for. Again, there's a lot of people that put in their time and they get bypassed. They get bypassed. It's not even nepotism anymore. It's white hiring white. And the tribal membership was getting left out.
Okay, Junior, I think Carol's got something. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, Junior, I hear what you're saying, and I feel bad for that person because, you know, they are on, and I don't have any ill will feelings towards anybody. And if they get hired, they must be the most qualified. And I believe that's what took place here. There were tribal members in the running. And under reorganization, that was taking council out of the whole picture. And I think that needed to happen also. Because when we make decisions as a council, it gets political. When the director or the Rick's position makes a decision, it's based on the most qualified individual. And I'm not saying the other people weren't qualified, but he was the person selected. And I welcome him aboard just like I would anybody else. I mean, we have many non-members in this organization and I feel they're family. And I feel they have so much to contribute. And I can name name after name after name, and I hear what you're saying. But with this organization and the kind of money that comes through it, you need more than one good person at the helm. And I believe not only this person is, but so is the other individuals that put in. They're in the organization. They just didn't meet the top qualifications. So that's about all I have to say about it. But I think, I don't want to discourage anybody. I don't care about the color of their skin in this organization, especially when they are qualified and we need them. Until our people get up to speed and with the qualifications, then we will make sure that they get these positions. But I just feel it just makes me sad. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the hiring of Greg and those guys. I'm not talking about them. This happened in that department, central accounting. I'm not talking about Greg or the other guys you're talking about. I'm not talking about them. I'm not using names. So again, this is happening. And I'm talking about the people that are, I guess, lower than everybody else. They should have a chance at these positions. I know these guys are great people and there's a reason why you hired them. But I'm talking about these people, low people. That's where it's taking place. And it's in Central County where it's taking place. It's not Greg and those guys. I'm not talking about them. So I want you to get that straight. Thank you.
Thank you, Junior. Did you have something, Greg, or?
Yeah, Mr. Kaye, I wanted to affirm to you and to the elders that my commitment is to make all personnel decisions as transparent as they possibly can be. I thank you for bringing this to my attention, and I will explore and examine this because my commitment is to making sure that we're hiring the best people for the roles. And I too share your commitment to making sure that we prioritize members into those roles to cultivate and nurture and nourish their growth within the organization at the top of that list in accordance with Ordinance 69D and to make it transparent to all members. So I want to affirm my commitment to you in that area, and I will look into this issue myself.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Junior. Are there any other issues? Any other questions for the other directors? Clayton and Lisa are on. Have a short meeting or just everybody too full from Christmas?
Yeah, is there a chance that we can get it, maybe they can send it to Vernon, a new org chart? There's been so many hirings, I don't know who's who anymore. You know, it'd be really great if we could get a tribal org chart that's up to date.
Yeah, I think those are available on Free for All. I'll have Danielle or Gina or somebody look those up. I think that there's an overall one that kind of tells you which departments are what, and then each department will have their own organizational chart. So did you want to see all of them all the way down to, all the way through, or did you just want to see the overall one that we received?
I think the overall of the whole tribe, that'd be great.
Okay, yeah, we'll have them look in the free for all and see if they can get those sent off to you.
Thank you, Greg.
And any
Go
of
ahead,
the
Carol.
elders.
Yeah, Vernon, I wanted to mention it was at the tribal leaders meeting, and they're at the meeting, they talked about an 150th anniversary of Yellowstone National Park. And I want to make sure that since it's our Aboriginal territory, that we want to make sure that we're involved in that. And I have a name of an individual in the backup for it. I will get that to you and to Tony in the near future.
Oh, thank you.
Hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. That's and different places kind of, and it's not, they don't try to overlook, but it's just kind of a, something they didn't think of. So thank you. I'll look for that and reach out to them.
Madam Chair?
Okay, we got Loretta and then Lawrence. Go ahead, Loretta.
Thanks, Anita. So Greg, I just wanted to ask a quick question about economic development, because I might be the only one, or maybe there are several others that have no idea what economic development is doing right now. Do you have like a nutshell little update that you can give us on that program?
Certainly,
I
thank you
guess.
for asking. So the overarching theme for our economic development is to analyze or survey different economic or business opportunities that may come to the organization, to analyze their financial viability and to determine whether or not it's something that the organization wants to take on as a tribal corporation, or whether or not it's something that we believe may be better served as a member-owned or a member-operated business unto itself. In the last 18 months, however, much of economic development's emphasis has been put onto helping support member-owned businesses and to help expedite the distribution of some of the financial assistance that came from the federal government to those member-owned or tribally owned, tribal member-owned businesses in the community. So part of that emphasis has shifted over the last 18 months. But one of the things that I'm really focused in on is making sure that we bring into the council in the next month the list of the 8 or 10 things that are on our list of priorities, and get some specific guidance for how we should prioritize them going forward into the new calendar year. Some of the things that we're focused in on, we've entertained looking at tribal carbon offsets. We've looked at the development of some workforce development issues in order to address some of the member opportunities to start and run businesses in conjunction with some of the guiding resolutions of the organization. We're trying to make sure that we have our priorities aligned with the tribal resolutions that guide the organization, so that as we bring new ideas, or as new ideas are presented to council, that they can be vetted through the economic development group for their financial viability and sustainability, and then recommended to proceed or to table or to seek other alternatives.
Thank you, Greg. Go ahead, Lawrence.
One of the things I would like to suggest to the council is have the administrative assistant go through all of our documents online, because when I go through it, we got some old organizational charts in there that are no longer useful because they're outdated, and the new ones that were just passed by the tribal council are not included. And so I would suggest that we go, because when we go online and go into our homepage and look up our documents, those documents are null and void now, and those should be cleaned up and reinstated. I have also sent Jordan a copy of the Constitution and all the amendments, and he'll be reviewing that to make sure that's updated with all the amendments.
Thank you, Lawrence. You got something, Brian? Go ahead.
Yes. Along those lines with the economic development part, I'd like to, offer a suggestion also in that area, which was, I think that, and I've brought this up before, but there isn't movement on it, and I'll probably keep bringing it up. But it's the support for businesses on the reservation that fight against the tribe. We are a major supporter of Super One and Harvest Foods, and the owner of those businesses is in the state legislature and constantly is battling the tribes and is constantly doing things detrimental to the tribe. I think that we at least should be requiring our departments to not have accounts and charge at those businesses and any of the businesses on the reservation that support efforts against the tribe. It's like putting the tribal dollars out there to fight against ourselves, and it just doesn't, it just doesn't sit right with me. And so there are businesses that are friendly to us on the reservation, and I think the ideal would be if we had, grocery stores close enough to each community that are tribal run, tribal owned. I'm looking at that. I know what will come next is that we like to feasibility study everything, but I think that if there were tribal stores, that it wouldn't only be just the tribal members that would support it. We have a lot of other supporters here on the reservation that would also make sure that we keep those businesses alive. So I think that, making sure that there is especially grocery shopping that is nearby to almost every tribal community. I think that's something that we really should look into. So just a suggestion, Greg. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Vern. Thank you, Greg. Go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, I just want to mention, I know of a couple of tribal members that work at one of those businesses that were mentioned. And so I think it's also important to remember that even though they have a difference of opinion with the tribes, and sometimes it's a ugly opinion and it's hard to swallow. But I think we also need to take that into consideration too, that they do at times employ tribal members. And I don't know how you weigh that out, but I guess we'll talk about that and decide for ourselves who we support and who we don't. But I certainly agree with his suggestion to start looking at the businesses that don't.
I have a comment, Anita.
Sorry, I said Martin and then Loretta, and then it looks like Glenn. Go ahead, Martin.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Vernon. I mean, yeah, I don't disagree with you with not supporting that individual or his businesses, but I think more what we need to do is take advantage of the opportunities that we have, like in this time with, say, economic development. And I was fortunate enough to go on a visit down to Nebraska, Iowa, that area. And I don't know if you guys have heard of Ho Chunk Inc. They're part of the Winnebago tribe, and they are doing things that are leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of people. And it's funny because they actually came up and learned from us how to do some government contracting and 8A businesses and things like that. And, basically what they're doing is they're building their own. I wish, if we could go back in time, I wish we would have taken advantage of the grocery store that we purchased that was operational and made that into a native grocery store. Because obviously Dollar Tree did it. And that's what we need to do is we need to, start spending money, within ourselves. And one thing that they did with their economic development is they branched that off. So it wasn't part of necessarily government decisions. And they went and they've done very well. Ho Chunk Inc. is, you can Google them. They are doing, things. They're buying construction companies. They're buying modular homemakers. And so when the tribe needs to buy modular homes, who do they go to? They go to the Ho-Chunk Corporation that makes those. You know, they have their own media companies. I mean, they are, and even things like, you know, that we do, like, you know, printing, they have their own printing, you know, place, like, and that's where we need to get to. And a lot of these discussions about money and grant funding and everything else, you know, until we get off of government funding, we're always going to be answering to someone. And that's where we're at right now, is like, we are at these crossroads right now with our financial, I don't call them windfalls, but, you know, the amount of money that's coming into the tribe in the next few years, with the water compact, with, you know, if the Build Back Better plan goes through, the, you know, the infrastructure. I mean, tribes are going to be getting a lot of money, and we should start using that money to build our own businesses and empower our own entrepreneurs, and, you know, quit going back to the idea of that we can't operate things, because I know we can. You know, we got to stop tearing each other down, and you know, empowering each other and empowering these businesses, and supporting our native owned businesses. And so, you know, that is, you know, that's what we need to do. And until then, unfortunately, living in a rural place, we don't have a lot of options. And DHRD and their programs that give out vouchers and things like that are in a hard situation, because they only have a certain amount of vendors in this area that we can utilize. And some of these clients don't have vehicles that they could go to Missoula or Kalispell to shop. And so they're kind of stuck with these smaller, you know, family-owned businesses that may or may not, you know, be our friends. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we got Loretta and then Lynn.
Thank you. I was actually going along the same line of what Martin just said, but I was actually going to someone a little bit more local to the Kalispells, because you go over there, I mean, and those guys are just smart business people. You look at their economics. You look at Northern Quest, and the gas stations that they have, and the little rentals that they have on their sites, and they're full all the time. And that casino is just a booming business with their concert venue there and everything. And here we are in one of the most beautiful places in the world, right on Flathead Lake, the Mission Mountains as a backdrop. And our little casino doesn't do nearly what even the brand new Kalispell casino does over there on their reservation. And those guys are thriving, and they're doing such great things. And I know we have the people that within our own tribe that have all these ideas and stuff, but it always comes down to funding. Where are we going to get the money? How are we going to do this? Well, we did the resort, why can't we think beyond that? And it's like, yeah, and they're such a small tribe, and they're huge in so many ways. I mean, they're gigantic in a lot of ways. And they started out the way we did, with basically nothing. And we're still sitting here spinning around, arguing around about where to put it, and what are we going to do about this, and what are we going to do about that, when those guys are just making money hand over fist. And then you look at the Coeur d'Alene, and those guys are out in the middle of nowhere, and those guys are thriving too. I just think that we need to do something to push our own economic development, our own people. Do you look at that Walmart, I got another word for it, but I'll be nice and say Walmart, you know, and you look at these grocery stores, Safeway and Super One, why are we depending on them? Why don't we have our own? Why aren't we employing our own people? You know, all of that stuff. I mean, and yeah, Vernon's right. We'll feasibility the hell out of ourselves until we just say, well, we can't afford to do it because the feasibility studies say that we can't because it's not going to thrive. You know, which is absolutely untrue. I mean, you look at the other little grocery stores around here and what they're doing, and if we had our own, we could be supporting our own. You know, we need to think outside the box. We need to just quit going over to other tribes and looking at what they're doing and coming back here and saying, yeah, those guys over there are doing that, you know, and talking about it for the next 10 years. Just do it. We have the land base, we have the people. Just do it.
Thank you, Loretta. Then we got Len, and I see that James had his hand up too, so Len first.
Okay, thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I just wanted to just briefly mention some of the discussions that we had when we first purchased the Big Arm property back in 2015, I believe it was. And I know Vernon was part of this discussion also, but we wanted to leave some of that property open for the tribal members to potentially bid on and open up a business there where the store is. And so that's, since we've owned it, I know there have been a few tribal members that have stepped up, but we're unable to gain any capital to get started. But I think at this point in time, you know, we have that store sitting there for all of these years. I will strongly be advocating that we start diverting some of our resources over there to get that store up and running. And once it's up and running, at that point in time, we could look at the options of turning it over to a tribal member to operate. But we just need to just get it up and get a convenience store going up there, because it's already sitting there and it's been vacant, and it's just kind of a sitting wasted resource at the moment. So I just wanted to quickly mention that, because we do need services up here. So thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. Go ahead, James.
Yeah, thank you, Anita. One of the things I appreciate the conversation. It's a great conversation. And I think thinking about Vernon's comment, you know, we did do that as a tribe back in the 90s when we had the John Mercer and all of those folks in the legislature back in those days. And you know, the Republican Party at that time was fighting us over the state of Montana, and the Republicans are fighting us over hunting and fishing rights and Mission Valley Power and all of those things. And the only way that those Republicans at that time listened to us is when we boycotted those businesses on the reservation. And to Carol's point, I think that's a good point. They do employ some tribal members, and if we do boycott those places, maybe we need to invite those tribal members to work for us someplace. But I think you make a good point, Vernon, that the Republican Party, the only thing they see is a dollar sign. And, you know, we have our money that comes to us through the federal government, through our own money, through our businesses, grants and otherwise, and that's a pretty impactful amount of economic input. You know, I was thinking back in Mickey Pablo days, and I think maybe Carol can confirm this or some others, but you know, he went to the bank owners and told them, say, look, if you guys don't work with the tribes, we're going to pull our money out of your bank. And pretty soon, John Mercer and them started doing things the way we needed. One of the things that, you know, I've been back a little time, but one of the things that I've been reminding the council is our relationship with the Tunaja Tin Basket Treaty Council and the individual bands is that sometimes we forget that relationship. Sometimes over time, we don't make that connection like we should. And I know Vernon and Lawrence and different members of the community and Leonard and others, I want us to just remind ourselves and remind this new council coming in that that's an important relationship. And sometimes we forget about it. And, when I had a little bit of time being the chair, I made a point as chairman to go up and visit and call and talk to those chiefs and chairperson at Bonners. And, they're our sister and brother bands. And I know they look to you all and Vernon, the culture committee, and Elmo and our Kootenai community for a lot of help at times with ceremonies and language and such. And I just want to remind us that that's an important relationship that we have as a tribe, and not to forget that. And also, to Loretta's comment, Loretta, I saw in the messages you were asking who the supervisor economic development, that's Patty, right? Is that Patty or is that Greg?
That's me.
Okay, Greg, thank you. I wasn't sure that got answered or not, but the other question, the other comment about economic development, I think you're right on the mark as those comments are being made. We need to think outside the box. And, I think back in 06, the Seminoles bought the Hard Rock Casino. And you know what? They own all the Hard Rock casinos in the entire world. The Seminole tribe of Florida. And you want to thinking outside the box. We need to think outside the box and globally and internationally, because there's places in the world that would be chomping at the bit to buy from Indian people, things that Indian people make, whether it's whatever you can think of. And, and sometimes we think of our reservation, but there's a big world out there that is ready to work with Indian people. And, sometimes we limit ourselves to the reservation, but also it is good to look at what other tribes are doing, because they are doing some fantastic things. Martin mentioned Ho-Chunk and Seminole are another example, but I think we have lots of examples, and it's only up to us to push those boundaries. And I appreciate Loretta's comments. Yeah, we definitely need to push ourselves as a tribe, get stuff done. I think there's more than an opportunity to provide a job for every tribal member that wants to work and is able to work. We should have that ability. And but I think my main point is I just don't want us to forget our Kootenai bands in Canada and North Idaho, and make sure that we engage with them and talk with them once in a while.
Thank you, Jay. Got some people needing to log off by 3, and I certainly don't want to put a time limit on this. I want you guys to be able to talk about what you need to.
Yeah, Anita?
Go ahead, Junior.
Yeah, economic development, I'm for it to a certain extent. And what someone just mentioned, we got to think out of the box here. I believe that there was a reason why we all exist. And there was a reason why we were put where we're at today. And there's a reason why economic development is not flourishing on our reservation. There's a reason for that. You know, there's a lot of different angles we can look at it. You know, if we had the right people, we could, you know, be out all over this, in the United States, you know, looking for factories, manufacturers, you know, that's looking for area to build. You know, there's a lot of things to look at it, but I kind of look at our reservation here, the mountains, the lake, the dam, the river, all our farmlands, you know, just in itself, it's rich. We're rich, you know. We don't live by Spokane where they have the population, you know. And I guess that's why we're so lucky for the reason why we're here. You know, yeah, we can do better as a nation, we can do better. But I know there has to be different ways where how we can do better. You know, anything you do today, there's a no good part of it. Whatever you bring here, you got to look out there. What else are you bringing here just because you're bringing this here? Do we want that? Do we want Kalispell to be hooked up to Missoula one of these days? I don't think so. But I think we gotta look at ourselves. We were put here for a reason, and the economic development that's here, we have to work on that to make it livable and to make everyone, you know, everyone feel that they belong. You know, that's kind of hard, but you know, I really feel, this is some of the reasons why I guess you guys continue to talk about it, and that's all we do is talk. Because there's no real answer. There's no real answer. The real answer is your grandchildren. Our mountains, our lake, our trees. That's the answer. We have to beautify, take care, you know, but there's a way, we just have to find it. But I was wondering what happened to Jonathan at Tribal Health. Does anybody have a response?
The only thing I can say is I understood that he resigned. I can't tell you any specifics. I myself have not heard any. So, sorry, Junior.
Is Shane Mojo on?
I didn't hear you, Junior. What?
Is Shane Mojo on this meeting?
No.
Yeah, I just wanted to have him explain what's his new job.
Okay, Jen's gonna get him on if you'll hold on a minute, Junior.
Jordan too, I guess.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to say thank you, Junior, for talking about the rich resources that we have. I think we are very fortunate as a tribe, and that's why we aren't strong, I guess is what you say, but I think we are strong. I think we're a very strong tribe, a nation. Just look at EKI, SKT, all the revenue that those corporations bring in, along with S&K Electronics and the jobs that they provide for our people. I mean, can you imagine if we had people trained in the 1,000 jobs that EKI or that SKT has? Those would be filled with tribal members. But our people aren't trained. And so I think we every day struggle as a council to try to figure out how we do that. And the one way to do it, and I know Lawrence got a little upset with me when I said, there was never a way to meet that initiative of 100% tribal member employment. But the way to do that is put money where we're talking from our mouth, like provide the scholarships that need to be done. That's what the tribes that are doing, that are resource or gaming rich, that's what they do. But that's not always successful either. I mean, you can throw money at it, but I think our people are really really want to strive for that education, if that's what they choose to do, or maybe they want to work out in the woods. That's the other choice. But I think as the corporations that we have, the bank, Eagle Bank, SK Gaming, EKI, SKT, they bring in revenue. It's not billions, but certainly that money goes in our tribal credit program. That money goes back into our programs to help run those and bring more services to our people. So I don't look at us as a failure, and I don't think anybody does. It's just that, I think we always need to keep that in mind, is that we continue to support those corporations and continue to look at more. And I know they're always expanding. SKT is expanding and have many families underneath just that one corporation. So I think we just continue to support those and try to get our people educated to take those jobs over. And, we'll be doing really good. But I am more about the resource and making sure that's protected. I don't want Kalispell and Missoula to meet in Ronan. That scares the heck out of me. I like to keep them at bay, keep them in their own areas. So anyway, I appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Go ahead, Martin.
Jordan just logged on. If they wanted to kind of get an explanation of what they're doing now.
Yeah, I'd just like to have them kind of describe what they're going to be doing for the tribes and whatnot. Thank you.
Go ahead, Jordan.
All right, I just jumped on, so
Didn't
I'm
hear the question.
yeah, just kind of explaining my new role with the tribes. Is that the question?
Junior had a question for you. I think your role is, yeah.
Okay, I'm getting the thumbs up. So it's good to see everybody. Glad to be here. So I think most of you know me from the legal department. Spent 10 years, more like 9 in the legal department. I spent about 2 years at Energy Keepers as general counsel for them before we acquired the dam. Then I transitioned back to the legal department. And so my new role, my official title is the Deputy Executive Officer of Special Projects and Planning. And so special projects will include things that sort of go across department, like individual department projects. And I think one good example of that is the food sovereignty effort. We've been working on that since the beginning of last year. Shelley and council put together a food sovereignty team. I was part of that. And then we got CARES Act funding to do different things. And so we did different facility upgrades across the reservation. So Kicking Horse being a major project. And now we're starting the holiday meal kit distribution. So we'll be doing that at Kicking Horse. We'll be working with the Elmo community to try to do a distribution up in Elmo again, like we did last year. Try to do it in Hot Springs, Arley, and just make sure that our membership gets really good food, quality, local, organic food. I saw the food boxes, they look really good. We're gonna be working with our natural resources department to try to get elk and deer as part of our elders meal program and distribute that to the elders first, starting with them and then going on to our kids and then just general community. And so that's one example. I know there's other council priorities that I haven't been tasked with as of now, but I'd be excited to get involved in those. And really my approach to things, I just love special projects. As a lawyer, I feel like I'm always, I used to be a lifeguard, and I feel like being a lawyer is a lot like being a lifeguard because you're always worried somebody's going to drown. You know, you're always worried, how is the tribes going to be in trouble and how can I protect the tribes from getting in trouble? Whereas with special projects and planning, I feel like how can we really benefit the tribes and the tribal memberships and the tribal programs to the maximum extent possible? And so Vernon's here, and my approach to everything is just asking. I just like to, I don't know much of anything, right? And so like, how can I get the information from the communities and the departments that are needed to come together for a successful project? And so the probate code's an example of that got held up at this solicitor's office, and they've got attorneys there kind of giving us a stalling, but we have a really good probate code. We talked to both culture committees. We talked to every community multiple times. We talked to departments. And so I think that's a really good community effort. Same thing with the cultural waterways ordinance. We talked with both culture committees. We had multiple community meetings, a bunch of different departments to come up with the waterways ordinance that we really feel good about. Food, same thing. And so hopefully that's answering your question. I think kind of my brain and kind of my education is really geared towards how to building projects collaboratively, and just knowing I know very little. How can I get a lot more people at the table to help with these things than just me? And so that's where we're at. I've been at this job for about 2 weeks now, and a lot of that's just continuing work I've been doing, but really looking forward to the new year and some new projects to get going. So I imagine you'll be seeing a lot more of me, and you hopefully all have my contact info, and jordan.thompson@cskt.org, and give me a call or an email anytime, and I'm happy to talk. So hopefully that answers your question from my end.
Yeah, that sounds good. I just needed to know what you've been doing. Thank you.
Oh, go ahead, Martin.
Jordan is the guy that gets to deal with that owner of Harvest Foods and Super One, and amazingly enough, I think that they actually get along a little bit. And so we should thank Jordan for, you know, even though he's an adversary, I think that they've gotten on enough good terms, you know, that they're not fighting us at every turn. They may do a lot of stupid bills and a lot of things like that, but again, he's a businessman and he understands that, I think, the economic power of the tribes now. So thank you.
Thanks, Councilman Charles. If I could add one more thing, that's one thing I did leave out, is I've been the lobbyist for the tribes for the past 3 legislative sessions. And so both Shane and I will continue to think about our legislative and political kind of strategy. And that's, you know, that's an important part of the tribes and kind of where we're at. So thanks for that, Councilman Charlotte.
And with that, we've also got Shane on, so he can explain his part of this.
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting us on here. I was just eating something, so I had to chow it down pretty quick, but it's good to see everybody and look forward to working with you all. I think Jordan, and one thing that's worth mentioning is that Jordan and I will actually serve as essentially backups for each other. So we both have our primary duties, but the work we do will be secondary. His duties will be secondary to me, so that we really always have that support there available for the council and for the tribes when we talk about, you know, some of these special projects that Jordan's working on. So if Jordan's out or is inundated with a certain project, you know, my job is to step in and help Jordan out with special projects that he might be working on, and vice versa for the tasks that I'll be doing. So for me, my position's pretty, it includes quite a bit, actually. I was going to say pretty straightforward, but I guess maybe it's not. But public affairs and communications is my new job with the tribes, and really focusing on developing effective internal and external communication channels. And then also to provide strategic counsel and support for the tribes and our goals and priorities. And as you all know, we have their larger policy initiatives, which include, food sovereignty, business, our elders, our culture. We have the homelessness priority with the council. And so we have that whole group of policy priorities. And one of the things that we're really focused on is making sure that all of those priorities moving forward aren't lost in the shuffle of, new councils and new leadership as we move through future leaderships. And so our job is to really make sure those projects and those ideas are captured and continue to move along. Outside of that, our job, at least from my perspective on the communication side, is to start having the tribes play more offense. Oftentimes we're put in a position where we're playing defense on issues, but we do a lot of amazing things in the community. And one of the things that we should be doing more of, in my opinion, is tooting our own horn and showing the community how much we really do care about them and how much we contribute to the community. And so we're trying to find ways. For example, my first couple of weeks with the tribes, we've been trying to find a way to really refine things in a way where we're funneling information to the membership in a way where people are able to get it better, whether that's working through apps, whether that's working through communication modes through our website. We're looking at trying to refine our website. We're just trying to look at ways where we can capture that information and funnel it to the membership so that we're ensuring that you're getting that information. That's just kind of a quick snippet, but really the idea between what me and Jordan are both going to be doing is working with outside stakeholders, tribal stakeholders on a variety of issues, whether it's water compact issues, internal issues that we might have going. Our job will be to try and find ways to strategize with the council and the executive to make sure that we're coming up with clean strategic plans moving forward, whether it's external or internal. And I gave the just to make sure I gave the example of some of the priorities. I didn't list all of them, so I just want to make sure that folks didn't think I listed all of them, and there was only a couple of them that I mentioned.
Jordan? Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you, Shane. Like you said, just keep us informed. We meet with the council once a month. So, keep us informed. Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you.
If I can add one more thing, just to make sure you guys are informed, we are getting 1,100 food boxes from the Western Montana Growers Co-op currently. We got 400 yesterday, and we're getting those pushed out today, but we're going to be doing different distribution. So keep your eyes on the CSKT council page. And also we have a hotline at 275-2772. I'll write that in the chat to see when the Elmo distribution might be. So just wanted to make sure you guys were all aware of that.
Thank you, Jordan.
Sorry, Floyd.
Delivering up in Elmo today? It isn't, it's out at Kicking Horse, right?
It's out of Kicking Horse today. Yep.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it mixed up. Thank you.
Nita, I have a comment.
Go ahead, James.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Shane and Jordan, if you could, one of the things that concerns me and I think should concern all of us is the Republican majority in the legislature and now in the governor's office and all of the statewide elected offices except for John Tester. Can you elaborate about some of the efforts to undermine people's right to vote and ability to vote? I think that's something we need to be paying attention to. Another thing, the council's been meeting with the superintendents of all the different schools. And not a one of those superintendents supports the operations at the Office of Public Instruction. Every one of those superintendents has expressed dissatisfaction with the way the OPI is being run. And also we found out from the superintendents that the OPI is suspending teacher licensing for 4 months. And so, we're trying to have these schools teach our native students in an equitable manner, and yet the department, the OPI is basically taking the licensing out from under our teachers in our local communities, and not even to mention our class 7 licensing for our language teachers. And so it just sounds like a complete terrible situation there in OPI. But if you gentlemen could talk about two things. One, the efforts by the Republican Party and the legislature to undermine the voting rights of people, particularly people of color, in my opinion. And then, what is there anything we can do as a tribe and people to influence or try to help get OPI straightened out?
Well, yeah, I think, first thing is there's, we're always going to be dealing with, efforts that undermine the right to vote, and especially for people of color. And that's something that we've, when we talk about Jordan and I's role, that's something that we advocate for and have, both when I was working as a lobbyist and then after Jordan was. And so that's part of the external affairs work that we do, and that the council has been so adamant about supporting in the past. And obviously it matters, and it makes a big difference because it matters as to who can vote and cast their vote in an election. So that's where we've leaned in is, we, as far as like Democrat or Republican, I don't, we if it impacts our membership's right to vote, the council's directive to us has been to go out and defend your right to vote. And so that's what we listen to them. And we've been active in doing that in the past. And I know Jordan has, and so have I. And don't want to get out in front of the council, but I'd expect that they'd probably want us to continue those efforts in our external communications and lobbyist efforts that we do. And of course we're always trying to improve the elections for our membership too, right? And so that's part of my job too, is to just make sure that we're doing a better job of communicating, election times and getting out, making sure that people know where to elect or where to vote. And so, we're actually developing right now a plan for the future elections, so that our communication teams knows when and how to roll out notices for the membership, so that they're better informed. And I think the last question, Councilman, I think Jordan and I, that's part of the reason I think we're going to be a good team, is he and I both have those communication capabilities to sit down and strategize about, our best approaches with, outside stakeholders and external stakeholders. And so that's part of our job, is to, give our input, you make recommendations, and, look at the situation, whether it's legislative at the state legislature or federal issues, and continue to work with all of the different programs and departments, whether it's the elders or other programs and departments. We'll continue to coordinate with them and make sure we're funneling that information and communicating that in a way that actually promotes the tribe's interests. So that's our plan. I think me and Jordan are both, we're good at this work, and we're really excited to continue to work at it and coordinate with everybody moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Shane.
Yeah, Anita?
Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, back a few meetings ago, we talked about the culture committees, about being back under the council. there was a lot of good talk, a lot of good explanations, shared a lot of good words. Francis shared a lot of good words with us. And I'm just wondering if there was any more discussion on this. I believe most of you guys were at this meeting and you guys listened, and there's a lot of good reasons why, we believe that the culture committee is back under the council. So I was wondering if you guys discussed this any further.
I don't think that we have discussed it any further. Junior?
So is it dropped then?
Carol, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we need to have a chance to discuss it, and we do have a new body coming in to be sworn in. And I think that's when that time will come, and we may need to hash it over, but I certainly know and see now the importance of having it right alongside the tribal council as advisory. And that's the way I'm leaning. But I think it needs to have a further discussion with everybody in the room, not just, I'm not the main decision maker. So we got to hear from others that will be coming on board soon. So that's where I'm at with it. But I see the advantage of it, and I also see the disadvantages of where it's at now. But I want to maybe give a shout out to the chairwoman for implementing this as a part of our daily council schedule, both culture committees. I think it's an excellent idea, and it should have been done a long time ago that we have these monthly discussions.
Thank you, Carol.
Anita,
Yeah. Go ahead.
the existence of our tribe is our culture. Without culture, we won't have no tribe. It's that's just plain fact. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, and I think too, with the orientations coming up, that's a good time for each cultural committee can stand and talk to the new council about the importance of their committees. I agree with Carol. I like visiting with each committee.
Yeah, I'd like to ask something to Shane Morjo about the redistricting, how that's coming along with the state.
Yeah, so thank you for the question. I didn't see who asked that to me. But my understanding is that they've chosen a district, at least for there's still a process that needs to happen for the districting of updating House districts and Senate districts out throughout the state of Montana. But they have established the two House seats in Montana, the Western and the Eastern districts. And so that is basically, it's been essentially it's been selected as far as what that's going to look like moving forward. And I believe, I can't remember, I think that'll go into effect in 2022. If I remember, there's a date for that to go into effect. But I can get that information to you, the specific information on the dates that the new House seats go into effect. And then we can provide you with, they've actually have the maps drawn out. So it might be nice for you all to just be able to see those updated maps. And so we can get you that information if you'd like.
So it'll probably go back to the old redistricting where it won't be just two counties.
No,
Two parts of the state, I mean.
Yeah, it'll basically be two, they basically have drawn the map to the west and then the eastern district. And so the western district is going to run across, basically fold in like Kalispell, Missoula, and then Bozeman. And then the rest of it, it's really that northern rural area in the eastern district, and it'll run all the way across over towards the Billings. So they essentially settled on, they were, the two Democrats and two Republicans were split on the district, and then the tiebreaker was the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's selection, who was the chair, was the tiebreaker, who selected the map that was provided to separate them out into that western and eastern. So the CSKT is actually in the western district, and it looks like they just pulled the map up for you. And I was actually just looking at it. So so you can see where Glacier, Blackfeet, and CSKT are on this map. And then it drops down and then folds up into Gallatin County, which will include Bozeman. So you got Missoula, Bozeman, and Kalispell, and then the two reservations of CSKT and the Blackfeet reservations falling in the district as well. So this is what they've selected as the two congressional seats.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we can get you a copy of that still too. I think it's good material just to have, so we're glad to do that.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Jerry, for your question. Junior, did you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to a few words on, something to think about here. I really believe that this tribal government here needs a election committee with folks that, are from the reservation here, but they're not on council. We have a lot of people that works these elections, and they know these regulations inside and out. And I would like that to be in a discussion with you guys, or you guys take it to the communities about having a election committee selected out of the membership. So I'm bringing that forward, to see what you guys think about it, and what the community is thinking about having an election committee selected. Thank you.
Mike? Something to think about. Thank you, Junior. Carol?
Yeah, Junior, I'm in favor of that, and not because of any elections or anything else. I just think it's time for us to do that. I've heard from the membership on a number of occasions. It's time, and I believe I was one council member who stood back one election, and they appointed, I believe it was either Joe McDonald or Teresa to sit in my place. And so, and the other four were still tribal council members, but I've kind of felt that way for a while. I just think, we're getting to the point where, when there starts to be people that question the election, it's good to have that independent role from the council. So doesn't have any appearance of any kind of impropriety. So I think it's time to think about it, time to discuss it. Well, it'll have to be, of course, written out, and making sure that the new election committee, has the clear directions and policies in place, but it can be done. Thank you.
Yeah, and another question, what's the tribes doing with marijuana use on the reservation? I see there's more shops opening up on the reservation.
You can answer that. We had an update from legal before lunch, but thank you.
Yeah, I think I can briefly talk about that. Junior, I think we're still looking through all the various options with the council and providing them really a landscape of what it looks like in Montana. Of course, it's complicated in the world of regulations when it comes to tribal and state regulations for things such as like tobacco, marijuana, or alcohol even. And so, I don't want to get in front of the legal team on this by any means, because I think they've been looking into this issue, and I was as well when I was in the legal department, to make sure that the council's informed on all the different areas and how the marijuana legalization impacts them. But we are definitely providing them the information so that they can make informed decisions on it moving forward. And I think one of the things that is still kind of floating around out there is that marijuana is still considered a Schedule I drug under federal law. And so that's something that, we definitely are very cognizant of and taking into consideration and on every level is how the federal government plans to treat marijuana moving forward. So that's of course, in the back of everyone's minds, but I think, the federal government has said states, we're essentially hands off when it comes to marijuana regulation. We're going to defer to you, which is why you're seeing more and more states across the country legalize, because it's a pretty major source of revenue. I think upward around $230 to $250 million a year for revenue. That's what they expect that to be after a few years in Montana. So I think everybody's trying to tap into that, those revenue sources, especially when Montana doesn't have sales tax. Montana has property and income taxes, and then they charge fees for various things, and that's how Montana derives most of their income. So I think we're going to just continue to keep council, in the loop. And of course, we haven't, since we've last talked to you all, Junior, we haven't had council outside of the decriminalization issues. We haven't had council make any or requested them to make a decision on any front outside of that. So we haven't really had anything at this point in time to bring back to the committee for input. But certainly, I know when I was in there and Mike Wheeler was working with me, and now Melissa Schlichting is also working on this issue in the legal department. I know that they were in watching and tracking the work we were doing, and how we were approaching this was to be really inclusive per council's directive. So we'll continue to just work through these issues and consider the regulatory issues for council to make a decision on in the near future.
Thank you, Shane. And there was another thing, when the elders up here met with council about closing the lands, the reservation lands, to tribal membership, just so the tribal membership and their families can use the lands here. And I know there was a question thing that went out, comment, but there wasn't anything on there that was discussed at the elders meeting. That option wasn't on there about closing all the lands. It was danced around, and it was never said. We were kind of like, we want these areas closed. We want to open just for tribal members and, their spouses, or, that first generation. But we didn't, that wasn't even up for discussion. So I was just wondering what council's word was on that, what's going to take place here.
Junior, I think that they closed down Lozo area and Twin Lakes to tribal member only. And we could certainly get the recreation guys in to talk with you and make sure that they're here the next time, but it wasn't all closed down, but there was a couple areas that were to member use only. And then, of course, the rate increases that individual tribal members had agreed with as well. But we could certainly get Dan McClure and Les in here the next meeting. Or we
Yeah,
could-
yeah, because we were kind of clear that we wanted all the lands closed, and they had that little comment period, and now it looks like council already voted on it. They closed those two areas and that was it.
No, they didn't close it.
Is that you, Jerry?
So was there already a decision that was made by council?
Go ahead, Martin.
I believe that we agreed to what they presented and it has to go out for a public comment period. And that's, I don't call it a formality, but I guess that's what it is. Thank you.
Nita,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, we also wanted jetty loans and Buffalo Bridge areas added to that. And I believe you guys said you were going to add it to them. Thank you.
Well, as Martin said, it's up for public comment right at this point. And I know that also the Salish had their concern about the river corridor. So it's up for comment right at this point, or will be.
Oh, I gotta get home. I'm gonna start my furnace again. Nice
I
and
can-
warm. I had to grind, but it's warm yet. Nick and
Are there any
Mark
other?
used to tractor. What you're saying, yeah. Go from there to go get some hay and go feed there.
I don't know who CS and KT is, but your mic is on. We can hear you, but we don't know if you're asking a question or.
Guess not.
Okay. Are there any other issues that you know of, Vernon, or anything that was, I didn't see an agenda this time, so.
I think that the questions have been asked on the updates on some of the more recent discussions that we have. I would like to request that when we have these meetings, not just ours, but also the Salish Clispe Culture Committee meetings, that we move it to beyond just a discussion, that when there are requests made that we update, if we could start the meeting by updating what was discussed previously, and then have a staff person assigned to to make note of those and then to provide us an update each time. I think it would avoid bringing up the same issues over and over again. Just a suggestion. I want to thank all of you, and I want to thank council for offering the opportunity for the elders to come and speak with you and to bring forward concerns and to talk about some of the issues that are facing us as a tribe. You know, I would hope that with the new council coming on, there are a few replacements, and so I would hope that these meetings would continue with the new council, and we look forward to the orientations that will be coming forward with the council as well. So thank you for taking the time to share with us this afternoon.
Thank you, Vernon. Okay. Well, I thank everybody else for being here today, and I pray that you remain safe and have a good weekend and a good new year. And we'll see you next week.
Danielle.
As far as I know, that was the last of our agenda. Did you have something, Martin?
I do. Jordan Thompson mentioned it, but they are doing a food distribution out at Kicking Horse today. I know it is very last minute, but there were kind of some issues that they needed to kind of get things out today. So that is starting here in about a half an hour. It is for CSKT members. I believe they will be checking identification just to make sure that you're an enrolled member. So bring your tribal ID from 4 to 7. It's eggs, potatoes, apples, carrots, winter squash, lettuce, onions, and a grocery store card to use, I believe, to get like the main, like the meat protein. So please, if you can, get out there. I believe they're doing 400 today. So let's get rid of them all. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. And with that, that is the end of our agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Charmel. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.